Hey guys, welcome back to another joint commentary. I am at the Brisbane P12 Criterium, and I'm joined with Andrew Goessling of Team Mike's Bikes. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me, Jeff. Excited to be here and give a little bit of insight on how our team races this race and sort of see how we stack up with Jeff and the gang and the rest of the field here.
Yeah, so Team Mike's Bikes, you guys are like the amateur elite team in the area, always feared, and that name might sound familiar because I've had Chris Reichert, your teammate, on this channel for a couple of races. So he's been on the channel. It's good to have you on to get a little bit more insight, and I just want to ask you probably what everyone's wondering. Like, you came here with one teammate, that's Sam, and tell me, when you guys come to a race like this, how do you prep for your strategy coming in? Do you guys talk about, like who's responsible for what, who's going to be the sprinter, that sort of thing? Walk me through that.
Definitely, yeah. So, so most of our team was actually out of town for this race. Actually at racing elite amateur nationals in Maryland. So it was just Sam, Benedict, and I, and so because it was just two of us, we kind of changed our tactic a little bit compared to how we would plan a race with our full squad. Kind of played it a little bit more by ear in this case, and just we really didn't talk a whole lot about our strategy, honestly. In this case, our team we do tend to try and really execute on race plans in every race we go to, but in this case, we did it a little bit more off the cuff. Essentially, our basic plan was to really just stay near the front at all times in this course because it is very short and very technical, and just follow any big move that has any of the good riders, big riders from the bigger teams, especially if there's, a group of more than three, we definitely would need to be there. And then as far as in the final, we actually didn't talk too much about the final, but because we're both pretty strong sprinters, I think we just decided to just both be there and see how far we could get in the final. Yeah, for sure. We're going to talk more specific about this course in a little bit, but you bring up a good point. On a short course like this, position is just so important. Like, not because you won't have the legs to stay towards the front, but sometimes it's out of your control. If it's really strung out, if it's really windy, if it's a short course, there could be some split in front of you where, the lead 10 riders just kind of break away, not because they put in this big surge in pace, but because some guy in front of you, unbeknownst to you, like lets a gap open up, and that can be the end of your race. I don't know if you've experienced that, but... Yeah, that can certainly happen very easily on this course. It's kind of deceptive because, it's flat. You can kind of see around the whole course. It doesn't look that crazy, but if you could see in the little heads-up display, there's a pretty significant hairpin in this course, and that can really catch out a lot of riders. Hairpin turns is not really something we do very often, especially in fast criteriums, so... some riders are better at kind of navigating that than others, and it's certainly a skill that you can learn if you do them enough in both training and in races like this. And but yeah, we definitely saw some guys who were maybe not taking the right line through the corner, and just there's a little gap that opens all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden that turns into a gap of a few bikes, and then all of a sudden you're going to need to chase. So it was definitely important to stay near the front.
Yeah. So before we take a lap here, I want to talk more specifically about the course. Before we walk you guys through a lap, I'll just talk quickly about our plan coming in. I'm on Tehrun Elite, those beautiful pink jerseys.
Beautiful, easy to see where you guys are at all times.
It's easy, it's nice when you're looking for a teammate, not so nice when you're trying to sneak away. So I came with two other teammates. There were three of us in total, and one of them, my teammate Christopher, he had just come back from vacation, and this course is pretty unforgiving if you've been off the bike for a while. So I think he was just riding into shape. He even told me before the race, like, don't depend on me to do much. He still took some hero pulls at the front to chase back some early attacks. But my other teammate, Zach, has just finished his collegiate season, and this is when he really turns it on. He was in pretty good form. He's only going to get faster, too. He told me before the race he was going to go preem hunting today, which isn't a bad idea. This course, this promoter, rather, puts a heavy emphasis on the preem, so there were a few $100s on offer, and I think he gobbled up some cash today. So so that was kind of our plan. Zach was going to go for the preems. I was going to sit in to the best extent possible, but like you said, it's not really an option on this course. There's not many areas to find shelter. So I was also up towards the front with Zach, and we were just kind of smashing, trying to join every little move that got off the front. Let's just take a lap now. We'll talk specifically about the course and some of its major features.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, so let's walk you guys through this course. This is the back section here. This is the final corner. This is a tailwind section coming into kind of a crosshead from the right. And you can see it's single file right now. It's strung out. This is basically the race. This is the way the race was for a lot of the day today. Hey, this is you up in front of me, right?
That's me. 3-3.
You'll see more of him in front of me as the race progresses. But we make this right-hander. This is one of the few moments you can get a little bit of rest. I want to say this leg right here. What do you think?
Yeah, I felt if you were managing to stay in the front and not needing to close a lot of gaps through the other side of the course, you could definitely relax through there and sort of gather yourself before the twisty section coming up here. But we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah, through that twisty section, I found it so difficult to first make up ground and also just get any amount of draft. And that's Zach, my teammate, coming up on the right in the pink jersey, in case you forgot what our jerseys look like, bright pink. So this is the hairpin. And this gave people a lot of trouble. We don't have many races on the calendar with a true hairpin corner like that. Now we're coming, this back section of the course is a tailwind. You're still accelerating through here. And this is an interesting part. I wanted to talk about this section of the course right here where it kind of loops around like this. You can pedal through this. If you take your lines just right, you can pedal through that. A lot of people weren't pedaling through that.
Yeah, I kind of traded off a little bit. For the most part, I pedaled through it, but that is a section where I think we saw a bunch of crashes in that section earlier in the day because
definitely
it's off camber, so the road is actually tilted away from you, so that it's much easier to clip pedals, and it doesn't look. So I think that's what caught a lot of people out, is because it doesn't actually look that sharp, but the road is angled in such a way that it can really take your wheels out and take your pedals out quickly. So you really had to be careful about it. It was also kind of a decreasing radius turn with a curb in like technically what looks like the exit of the corner. So yeah, it was a little bit hard, but like we said earlier, really important in a course like this to stay near the front so you can kind of see your whole line and see the whole road rather than kind of relying on the people in front of you to take a good line, which obviously we can see there not working out as well. But
yeah. You see, taking a bad line there cost that guy 3 or 4 positions, and I didn't even have to pedal, but I made up a bunch of ground. Of course, I'm trying to close down this little gap to these guys, but taking a good line both through the hairpin and then through this tailwind technical section on the back side of the course saves you so much energy and so much time if you take it right and you're able to pedal through it. So
definitely.
So that's especially important because that's the back side of the course is where you can be winning the race or losing the race on the last lap, and stay tuned for that because we're gonna have a pretty exciting last lap for you guys here in a couple of minutes. All right, hey guys, welcome back. So we have fast forwarded to near the end of this race. We're coming through 6 to go right here, 6 to go. And these are going to blow by really fast because these are short laps. So hang in there, and let's talk about what's happened up until this point, Andrew. The field, you can tell now, is probably about 20 riders, and this isn't necessarily a breakaway. This is just like what remains of the non-dropped riders.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So what happened in this race? We've definitely had some pretty good attacks. I think Jeff and I were both in what I would call a breakaway. It was kind of hard to call it a breakaway because there weren't that many riders behind us chasing, but it did eventually come back. We had a couple guys putting in some really, really hard efforts in that move, which I think really sealed the deal for some of the guys in the back. And I will say, props to a lot of the guys who showed up in our field who had also just done the Cat 2-3 race. So I'm sure they were feeling the pinch a little bit. We also had some Masters riders double up, so it's always good. And although maybe we don't say it all the time, we do appreciate anyone who doubles up in races to give the P12 field a few more riders. But I think that's what happened in this case. There were definitely some big attacks, and at this point, everyone is, I think, kind of being a little bit cagey because of the wind and just knowing that it's going to come down to a sprint. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely. No, that's absolutely right. And I'll tell you from my perspective, what I'm doing right now is the race was really fast, like all the way basically up until this point. As Andrew mentioned, I was in a breakaway. Andrew was off the front solo for a little bit.
Not sure why, but I did.
Which by the way, I was pretty happy about that. I told Zach came next to me and I was like, don't chase. I mean, get to the front and set a good tempo, but let him dangle for a little bit. And we let you hang out there for a while, but you're no dummy. You just pulled the plug eventually, and we were looking out, making sure nobody was going to come across and join you to make a group of 2 or 3 or something. But I got a little sidetracked. So here we are later in the race, and it was really fast up until this point. I'm trying to save my legs. So this funny thing happens on courses like this, and this isn't all too uncommon, where it'll be really fast at the beginning, breakaways go really fast in the middle, and then there's kind of a selection. In this case, it was attrition, but it really slowed down. So I know a lot of guys who dropped like kind of moments before it slowed down. It's like every time it's really difficult, like it's difficult for everybody. It's easy to think like, oh, I'm alone in this. This is awful, but it's like it's really difficult for everybody. So hang in there, and we really slowed down here towards the end. I think, what is that, 4 laps to go now, and I was able to recover as best as I could here, but there were still guys determined to sneak away. They probably recognize strong sprinters like Andrew, yourself, and also your teammate Sam. Some other Gavin was in this race on Mark Pro. Some other strong sprinters. So smarter racers. I know Jeremy. He was off the front there towards the end, really threatening move, forcing people to chase. And then right towards the end, though, you're going to see it in a lap or so. Ryan Oakes from A-Main was off the front, and that one almost went the distance. Like, it took a serious chase effort. Yeah,
Ryan put in a good move. We weren't really doing a ton in the back of the field to really go to town. I think we were all just being a little bit cagey, and it definitely took a pretty concerted effort in the last lap to actually finally get him back. I think the wind got the best of everybody in this race.
Yeah, it's a funny thing that happens too. Like, he got away, and I think he was the last of the A-Main guys, if I remember correctly. But he got away, and then it's like, Team Taeroon, my team, we're looking at you guys on Team Mike's bikes, and you guys are probably looking at us.
Yeah,
there's 2 of us, and there's 2
rider.
of you. Well, not at this point we didn't. It was 2 versus 2.
That's
so, so we kind of look at each other, and I just want to give a props to Ryan for like rolling the dice, and that was a really smart move. If it wasn't for this Dolce guy on the front doing a lot of work, and also I think Mike Sayers and Jeremy did a lot of work too to chase it back, then it probably would have gone the distance, because I was just like nursing my wounds from the last 60 minutes of getting beat up on this course.
Yeah, we were both just sort of sitting in, and I was kind of happy with just being there, knowing I had a pretty good sprint. But like Jeff said, I'm not sure if we would have caught Ryan if it hadn't been for
the help of some other guys.
The help of some guys, and sometimes you got to play that card.
Yep. So let's talk about position here, because I think position in this sprint in particular is so important. Like, right through this section right here, we talked about it already. You basically got to be like, I want to say top 3, top 4 if you want to win the race through this section, because there isn't really much passing through here.
Yeah, it's funny. It feels like kind of a long way to the finish line, because there's so many turns between the place where you want to be set up for sprinting and where the actual finish line is, but it's actually not. It's really only 300 meters from, maybe 350 meters from the exit of the hairpin, and half of that is full speed cornering, where people are, you're not pedaling, and people aren't really going to be able to come around you. So that's definitely something to keep in mind about crits in general, but especially technical crits. Just because there's a space where you are actually sprinting to the finish line doesn't mean that you shouldn't be ready to go much earlier than that. So in this case, if you do some of our bigger pro races, it's essentially a full-on sprint for the last at least lap, and you're sprinting between every corner and then cornering and then continuing to sprint. So, and you got to corner perfectly too, because if you're losing places through the corners, like, it doesn't matter if you're Mark Cavendish, like, you're not gonna be winning the race if you're like out of position or taking bad corners. It's, exactly. You got to get everything just right. And I want to point this out. Mistake number one on my part is I'm kind of losing my teammate's wheel here. He's 2 riders in front of me, and I recognize it. And looking back, it's really easy. In hindsight, right, when my heart rate is at 168, easy. You're like, just dude, go faster. It's my teammate. Just go faster. Just follow your teammate, Jeff. Come on. But yeah, it was just hard, and I'm not in ideal position here. So now we're coming into to last lap. This is it. Under 1 kilometer to go, and I've lost my teammate's wheel, and this is bad. You jump on my teammate's wheel, so you're in the position I want to be in at this point. You're right in the middle there, by the way. Yeah, you can see me up there. Yeah, Zach was doing good. I think Sayers at this point decided to just go to town himself, and I was still sitting in a good spot where I wanted to be. It looks like you needed to make up a couple spots. Yeah, and you can tell just by that delay in my reaction right there, as your teammate Sam kind of opened a little gap. I just don't quite have that snap left in my legs, but I take this corner pretty well. You're going to see I bump Ariel in the light blue right here. I'm going to bump his shoulder, boom, and then I lose a little bit more ground, and I have to punch it up to about 1,300 watts. Not ideal. Everyone's doing work out of that corner, but now I'm kind of locked in this position, and this is what we talked about before, is your position through this back technical section is so important. It's a tailwind. Look how hard it is. Now I just need to open up my sprint, like, immediately. And you're going to see Andrew put on a clinic on cornering. Look on the right-hand side right here, guys. Watch this inside. Oh, he just carves it, and he just immediately starts pedaling again, and now I'm yelling at my teammate. I'm on the left. I find a little gap here. I'm able to come by Sayers in the end for second, but man, Andrew, that was like, I watched this finish like 10 times, man. That was pretty fun to watch. You took that so perfectly. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, to be honest, it was definitely unexpected. I kind of came into this race with no expectations, and to get a win is always good. I knew kind of coming from the last laps that it was easy enough to actually stay on the inside, because coming out of the corner was so wide. And yeah, actually, you know what? Can we take that last? Because I did all the talking. Let's take that last, last like lap or two, and then you can tell me your perspective, because I was talking way too much. Let's try that one more time. Sure. All right, guys. I will talk you guys through the last 2 laps here. You can kind of see me about 4 or 5 wheels up in the frame from Jeff here, and at this point, we actually still have one guy off the front, Ryan from A-Main, so I'm a little bit worried that we're not going to catch him, but actually it turns Mike Sayers and his teammate Jeremy, I think, just decided to just say, whatever, we're going for it. So Jeremy was putting in a huge dig here with coming into a lap to go. Right here, it's obviously getting super strung out on the backside. This Dolce rider's blown. Looks like I'm third wheel, right? You're like perfect position right now. Yeah, it looks like I'm still on either Sayers or I think I'm maybe second wheel here. And I know Sayers knows this course really well. Without getting too deep, I've raced with him a long time, and actually on this course a long time ago. So I know he knows exactly what to expect. We took some good lines through that hairpin. It's super strung out, as you can see. A little bit of rest here, but for the most part, pretty full gas. Yeah, it was faster than I thought it was going to be in the last 2 laps. Considering everyone was raced really hard for the last 70 minutes, it was still pretty fast and still pretty cagey. Yeah. So there you are. We're getting a good view of you right there. You're sitting, what, 3rd, 4th wheel. You're on the left there in the Team Mike's Bikes kit. Yep, so here we are, less than 1,000 meters to go, 1 lap to go. Sayers is at the front. He's just kind of taking a long range pull, just trying to stay safe. I'm on Jeff's teammate's wheel, actually.
Yeah, Zach.
Zach Goessling, which was totally fine by me. But I kind of knew that once we make this turn, it's basically going to be full-on sprinting, because kind of the last half of the course is at least half of it is corners. So at any point that you can keep pedaling, you're going to need to be on the pedals. Oh, funny side note, my left calf was absolutely locked up, cramped at this point. So I'm not sure how I actually made it through here. But I survived, so...
You're where I wanted to be right here. You're in ideally third wheel.
Yeah, I knew the sprint was going to start, and I really wanted to go early, actually, coming out of into the last corner, because it was very wide, actually, and so here you go, you see me, I took a really, really hard inside line, railed it, and had a really big gap at the finish, so managed to keep a lot more momentum, and got a little win.
Well deserved. Well, I'm looking forward to battling against you and your teammates again at Watsonville. Hopefully you're going to be out there and your teammates are going to be out there. That's District Elite Championships.
Oh, that is coming up. I'm not sure I'm not going to be able to make that one, but...
Yes. I mean, bummed that you're not going to make it. All right, Andrew. Hey, thanks for coming on, man. And congrats again on the win. And catch you guys at the next one.
Thanks, Jeff. And see you guys soon.